Welcome back to The Avenue. I'm Adrienne, and here we are once again with a great show for you. Thank you for coming in today. I welcome you. If you're new viewers, thank you for coming in. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for stopping by once again. Today's going to be a great show, you guys. We're going to talk about something that we're all faced with, and that's money fights. Whether it's internally in our own minds or externally where you're verbally conversating with someone and it's not a good situation about money, we're faced with money fights. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And one of the things that we're going to talk about and bring up is when someone asks you, can I borrow some money? Those are words, fertile ground for money fights. Stay tuned.
She's a go-getter, alright. What a beautiful sight. Anything she sets her mind to, she stays on it day and night. She writes the checks, she signs the deeds. She plants the fruitful seeds and still finds the time to meet all her family needs.
That dreaded question, can I borrow some money? We've all experienced this at some point in time, even if I've experienced this at some point in time. And one thing that I've resolved to is that, first of all, I don't lend money out. But if I'm going to say I'm lending money, I'm going to put my mindset in the frame of that I'm not going to get this back. So whatever it is, $100, $500, whatever it is, just go ahead and settle it within myself. If I'm going to give this person the money and they think that they're borrowing it, just let me know and settle it in my mind so that there won't be some kind of hard feelings that I'm not going to get this back, right? But if they want to call it, let me borrow some money and I'm going to pay you back. Because most of the times when people ask you that, it's always, well, when I get paid on Friday or when the money comes in, and sometimes you all, this is not the first time this person has asked you to do anything like this, right? Also, you haven't seen any changes from the last time you lent them money. Nothing has changed. Everything is still the same. So in your mind, it's one thing, but you're kind of caught in a situation where if I tell them no, it's going to start probably some type of different conversation between you and them. If I tell them yes, it's going to start an internal money fight in your own head as to why do I keep doing this? This person hasn't changed. This doesn't make sense. My family already tells me I think differently, and I've accepted the fact that I do think differently about money and about situations, right? So it's no problem there. It's like I just know that I just think differently. But if someone were to come to you, a close friend, a family member, come to you and ask you to borrow money, and they've done it before, or if it's their first time and you know that they're not good with money, what are you going to say? Because it's going to put you in a particular situation when that question comes up. So when this dreaded question comes up, you're kind of stuck and you're caught between, do you make the decision of telling them, no, you don't have the money, or no, you're not going to lend them the money this time, or do you just give in and give them the money? And just know, you guys, if you just give in and give them the money, you're probably not assisting them or helping them in the way that you think you are, right? Because this is not really about money. It's about accountability. They're not accountable for how they're handling their money. They're not accountable for how they're going to pay you back. However, if it's something that they feel like they need and can't do without, they're going to run to you and borrow it. But what did they do with the rest of the money that they had coming in, if they have money coming in? So by giving them money, you're not helping them. You're enabling them to continue to do this. They may need to be set down and discussed why or what are they doing with their money, which is probably a conversation that they don't want to have. And anything but yes will probably start some type of money fight, verbal money fight, or even if you say yes and give it to them, it's going to start an internal money fight within you. So these are real life ways that money fights can start up. If someone asks, can I borrow money from you? And when people borrow money, and then especially if they're someone that you're going to see and they don't pay it back like they said that they were, they know that they owe you money. You know that they owe you money. And when it's an uncomfortable situation, when you see them at Thanksgiving dinner or if you see them around, some of them may bring it up, some of them may not bring it up, but it's just an uncomfortable situation because they know and you know that there is a certain amount that they were supposed to give you back and they didn't do it, right? Some people stop talking to people because of this situation. It can create all kinds of hard feelings, all kinds of emotions come up when this happens. And that's why I say, before I'm going to lend anybody anything, I may just flat out just say, look, I'm going to give this to you this one time. And if it's a substantial amount, we're going to have a conversation before I give it to them, right? But in most cases, you all, honestly, people don't ask me for money because they know how I am with educating them on how to handle money. And if you come ask me for money, the lesson that you're going to learn is, let's talk about your finances. Let's talk about what's going right, what's going wrong, because instead of giving you a fish, I want to teach you how to fish. I don't want you to come back to me or anybody else asking for money when this is something that you can stand on your own 2 feet about money, right? Okay, so just know that that is one of the questions that can start a money fight. Money fight number 2, and this has been from some friends of mine who are married. One person is very disciplined about the money and the other person is just freely spends the money. One person is working on trying to pay the bills down, get the money in order, take care of the household. And the other person, it could be male or female, whichever one, but the other spouse is out spending money, running up credit cards, just spending and not paying any attention to what the plan is. So you have 2 people working against each other when it comes to money. This is probably the most common money fights that couples have. And we know people get divorced. The highest rate of divorce is over money. If you don't get this straight from the very beginning, it's going to be a problem, right? So the thing is, you want to have a plan, and both parties need to understand what the plan is. Both parties need to be working in concert to getting what the plan is. And whatever the plan is, if it's paying down bills, paying the house off, or getting college funds together for the kids, whatever it is, you all need to work together to do that. Because when you have 2 people that's pulling in different directions, it's going to be a money fight, because the person who's trying to get the bills down is probably going to bring up to the other person, why are you spending so much money? Where is this money going? You know, we said we were going to do this and you didn't do this. And that's where the money fight breaks down. And so basically, it is not really about the money. It's about alignment. Because if you find out that you have a money fight because you're not aligned in this area, it may be some other areas that there's misalignment. This could be even in a business. If you have a partnership in a business and these are the plans for the business, this is what we're going to do with the money, and one person runs off and buys a lot of stuff, you know, that you guys didn't say that you were going to spend money on, that could be a potential money fight. So these are all realistic scenarios that need to be handled. And most of these, if you handle them up front, everybody is on the same page. We know exactly what we're going to do. We know where the boundaries are. We know where the limitations are. And we know where we can spend, where we need to save, what we need to do with the money. It can eliminate a lot of these money fights. So that is scenario number 2. We got 2 more to go. But before we get to the next scenario, I want you to hit that like button and that subscribe button. Don't fight me on this. Go ahead and hit those buttons so that you can stay up to date on the latest information I'm bringing to you. We're getting to some topics that we need to discuss. They may be a little tight and heavy, but these are things that actually happen because it's realistic, it's about money, and we want to talk about them. This next one, scenario number 3, is one I see all the time, and it really breaks my heart to see this, because sometimes you cannot reach people. But a person who's always saying, well, I deserve it, I work hard for my money, and I deserve it. And I'm not trying to argue against whatever anybody feels like they deserve, but this same person are behind on their bills, in a lot of debt. They don't have any savings plan out there or anything like that. However, when they get paid, because they feel like they deserve it, because they've worked so hard, they go out and start spending money on here, on there, on trips, on clothes. And it just, the credit card debt is getting higher and higher. However, they don't have a plan to pay the credit card debt down. They don't have any savings. They're not thinking about retirement or future or anything like that. And this goes on, and my heart goes out to them, because you know that one day they're going to wake up and regret some of the things that they're doing. But sometimes you don't know how to reach these people. And so basically, it's a I deserve type of attitude can get you into some real trouble in the future if you keep going down this road. One of the biggest things about this I deserve type of person is they spend emotionally, and then they stress out about money emotionally also. So they go out, and if they feel good, they spend. If they feel bad, they spend. If they get a raise, they spend. If it's happy, sad, whatever it is, they find a reason emotionally to spend. And emotional spending is not solving the problem. It's making you even get stuck deeper and deeper, because normally there's going to be some emotional regret about the money that you just purchased, or the things that you just purchased, the money you just spent on something. So this emotional spending is not good. You need to be able to control your emotions. Do something else when the emotions come up outside of going and spending, because these same people stress about money. You know, the bills come in and they're stressed out about how I'm going to get this paid off. Let an emergency come up. Let a flat tire or something with the car, something with the house, an appliance come up, and they don't have any cash stashed anywhere, and it's going to be a stressor for them. So they're just digging themselves into a deeper and deeper hole. And that's what makes me feel so bad for them, because there is a system, you all, that you can get out of this by saving and only spending the money that you have available to you, instead of paying your future money for things that you want right now. It just doesn't make sense. And of course, I think differently. That's what my family says. So, and I do think differently. But let's take a look at this, because this can eventually turn into a money fight. This I deserve it, I deserve it, I deserve it. Because at some point in time, if I'm with an I deserve it person, I'll let it go on for a while. I may drop a little tip here, drop a little tip there, until finally we're going to have to sit down and have a conversation if they're open to it. Now, if they don't want to talk about it, I'm just going to continue to feel sorry for them. But I won't be lending them any money to solve their problem. This last scenario is something that some of you all are very familiar with, but that is supporting people that won't help themselves. Sometimes, you all, it is a situation from parents helping children that are 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. Some of them may still be living in your house. Some of them, sometimes you're paying their cell phone bill. I know people that have kids in their 30s and 40s and they're still paying their cell phone bills. Makes no sense to me, but they're not my children. That's their children. But they're supporting people that don't want to help themselves. At some point in time, you need to be a woman, a man, standing on your own 2 feet. And sometimes, you all, it's a boyfriend-girlfriend situation where he or she's paying for something else for that other person, and you don't see them trying to help themselves. Some people that if they're trying to help themselves, you know, you give them a hand up and a hand out instead of a hand out. You give them a hand up and a hand out so they can help themselves out of that situation. But if they're not trying to help themselves and expect for you to do this, this is not a good situation. And at some point in time, the parents could cut it off and start saying no, or it's time for you to fly the coop. You're 50 years old, you're 40 years old. It's time to get out and get on your own, because to my knowledge, people don't live anywhere for free. When I moved out of my parents' house, I have to start paying a mortgage, right? You either pay a mortgage, you pay a rent, you pay something, or live on the street. But this is something that if a person is not trying to help themselves, you are enabling them by doing this. And so this is one thing that we need to look at and try to understand. I know the parent is wanting to do the best that they can, but it may not be the right thing for the person, because the person is not trying to get out of debt. The person is not trying to save for themselves. The person is not trying to pay the bill or bills that they're asking someone else to pay. And this person may be gainfully employed. And I'm listening and hearing from more and more parents that they're cutting their kids off, or they're asking for a certain amount to still live in that house. You know, I was very appreciative of my folks for them letting me live in the house. I moved out in my 20s. I wasn't going to burden them with me staying there. And if I were to stay there longer than that, I would be giving them money, paying either half the house rent and paying some of the utility bills. But I need to get used to being on my own 2 feet, because nobody's going to let me live anywhere else for free where I don't pay for anything. And it would be a blessing for your folks to let you stay there for any length of time and ask you for only a portion of what you could be paying somewhere else. What should you be doing with that money? You should be saving it to get out on your own 2 feet, right? You're an adult now. It's time to start doing adult things and adulting as life goes on. Because at some point in time, you all, me as a child of some great parents, I'm like in a position now to help them. I'm not going to be a burden to my parents. I'm going to help them. In order for me to get in this position to help them, I needed to move out, stand on my own 2 feet, save, invest, do whatever I need to do. So when my parents got into a position where they needed help, I'm able to do that for them. That's the way I honor them, by helping them. That's the way in my mind it should be, but I think differently, right? So, but this is another scenario that could create a money fight, because if the parent were to tell the kid, I'm no longer going to pay your cell phone bill, I'm no longer going to put gas in your car, I'm no longer going to let you stay here for free, that will probably spark some type of conversation that could turn into a money fight. You know you have it. Why won't you do this for me? That type of thing. And it's not about that. It's about becoming a responsible adult. Sometimes, it's time to get kicked out of the nest and you need to fly with your own two wings so that you can know how to make it in life. And so this can create a money fight. This particular one is not generosity. Don't get it confused. It's not generosity, but it's not creating boundaries, right? And it's creating a dependency from your children or whoever you're doing this for the people that won't help themselves. So they need to have this responsibility and help themselves. So to tie it all together, these money fights are really not about money. The money fights are about the lack of boundaries. The money fights are about discipline. The money fights are about responsibility. These money fights are something that we can control. These are the things that we need to teach really at an early age so we can understand. We shouldn't be wanting to burden somebody over money because of our lack of inadequacies, our lack of wanting to be responsible for the things we need to be responsible for. Like I said and often say, nobody is coming to save you, but these are things we need to be accountable for, have boundaries out there for the people that you need to have boundaries for, and make people take responsibilities for themselves. They need to be responsible for what they're purchasing, what they're not purchasing, and those type of things. So let's do a better job at getting through these money fights. If we need to sit down and have a conversation, I'm not encouraging anybody to have a money fight. Believe me, you don't want to have a money fight. But if there's a way that you can get through to some of these folks and let them understand where you're coming from, that's what you need to do. Try to reach them in a way. But sometimes if you can't reach them in that way, you just need to cut them off. And with that, I will see you in the next video.
Go Adrienne. Humble, go get a bless. Let's go.